If you have ever been called too much, too intense, or too sensitive, if you've ever felt that the gears of your mind turn at a different speed than those around you, if you have ever looked at a perfectly normal social situation and felt like an anthropologist studying a foreign tribe, then you are already a member of a club. We'll call it the Too Much Club. There are no membership fees, but the dues can feel impossibly high. This brings us to a profound paradox, one that may have defined much of your life. Why does the very intelligence that should help you navigate the world, the very perceptiveness that should give you an advantage, instead so often make you feel disconnected from it? Why does seeing more of the world make you feel like you have less of a place in it? This is not a personal flaw. It is not a sign that you are broken. It is one of the most important questions a person like you can ask. This video is my answer to that question, but it's more than just an explanation. I'm going to provide you with a complete mental model, a framework to understand this entire conflict, from its origins in your perception to its ultimate, and I do mean ultimate, reward. I can promise you that by the end of our time together, this feeling of being a misfit, this weight you carry, will be reframed. Not just as something to be tolerated, but as your single greatest source of strength and meaning. And to begin that process, we need to build a sense of our collective territory. The comment section below is not just a place for feedback. Today, it is a place for collective validation. I want you to do something for the others who are watching this right now, feeling that same flicker of recognition. Validate this feeling for them. Comment below with just one word. One word that describes your personal experience of being different. Let's build a dictionary for our shared experience, right here, right now. Have you ever left a party, or even just a simple conversation, and felt not bored, but physically drained? As if your very life force was being siphoned out of you through 1,000 tiny straws of small talk. You weren't discussing anything stressful, the weather, a TV show, weekend plans. Yet you feel an exhaustion so profound it's almost physical. Why? Why does a simple, pleasant social interaction feel like hard labor? It's because your mind doesn't see the world like a photograph. Your mind perceives reality in 8K resolution, while most of the world is perfectly content with standard definition. Let's call this high-resolution perception. This isn't about being smarter in the academic sense. It's about the sheer density of data you absorb in any given moment. You don't just see the smile. You see the micro-expression of fatigue at the corner of the eyes that contradicts it. You don't just hear the words, "I'm fine." You hear the subtle drop in vocal tone, the hesitation that betrays a hidden anxiety. You are processing more detail, and this isn't arrogance. It's a cognitive reality. It's like having a supercomputer, a machine designed for complex calculus, and being forced to use it as a simple four-function calculator. The task isn't difficult, but it is deeply, profoundly inefficient. Your mind craves complex, layered, meaningful data. Feeding it simple, single-layer data is not just unfulfilling, it is metabolically expensive. It takes more energy for you to dumb down your perception and pretend not to see the other 7 layers of reality than it does to engage with them. That exhaustion you feel is the energetic cost of feigning low-resolution vision. Because of this high-resolution perception, you see the scaffolding of the social world. You see the scripts, the polite fictions, the agreed-upon illusions that hold society together. The great psychologist Carl Jung had a term for this: the persona. The persona is the social mask we wear to be acceptable, to fit in. For most people, this mask is worn unconsciously. It feels like their real face, but you see the mask for what it is. You see the strings. You see the mechanics behind the magic show. And when you see the mechanics, it becomes incredibly difficult to lose yourself in the illusion. Others are enjoying the magnificent spectacle of the magician sawing a person in half. You're the one in the audience who can't stop looking at the cleverly hidden hinge on the box. This makes you feel like a perpetual spectator, an outsider at your own life's events. So what do you do with this perception that seems to isolate you? What is the path for someone who can't help but see the code behind the matrix? Imagine you are a sculptor. You stand before a massive, raw block of marble. Society hands you a blueprint. It's a very detailed, precise blueprint for a perfect cube. It tells you exactly where to cut, what angles to use, which tools to employ. It promises that if you follow this blueprint, your block of marble will become a respectable, predictable, and acceptable cube, identical to all the other cubes in the Great Hall of Society. This is the path of conformity. Millions take it. Now, imagine a different path. You are given the same block of marble. You are handed the same blueprint. You look at the blueprint for the perfect cube, and you throw it away. This is the beginning of individuation. Individuation, a term gifted to us by Jung, is the courageous, often terrifying process of becoming the individual you were always meant to be. It is the sculptor's true task. It is the act of chipping away everything that is not you. You chip away the expectations your parents placed on you. You chip away the fears your culture instilled in you. You chip away the social conditioning that told you who you should be. And as the marble dust flies, something begins to emerge. Not a perfect cube, but a unique, never-before-seen statue that was always hidden inside the marble. But the moment you throw that blueprint away, the moment you pick up your own chisel, you are, by definition, an outsider. The alienation is not a result of the process. It is the starting pistol. You have declared yourself other. This is the first price. You begin to operate on a different frequency. Conversations with old friends and family feel disjointed. It's like you're trying to have a deep-sea radio conversation with someone on a walkie-talkie. The signal is weak, there's static, and the fundamental wavelength is incompatible. This is when you may find yourself actively avoiding social gatherings you once enjoyed. This isn't antisocial behavior. It is a profound act of energetic conservation. You are instinctively protecting the fragile, emerging self that is taking shape within you. The cost of pretending, of putting on the old persona for an evening, is now higher than the reward of fitting in. And then comes the most painful part of this external price: the projections. As your statue begins to take on its own unique form, it no longer resembles the familiar cubes around it. Your authenticity becomes a threat. Your quiet self-assurance is called arrogance. Your passion for deep conversation is labeled intensity. You must understand this. They are not seeing you. They are seeing the reflection of what they fear or have repressed in themselves. Your freedom reminds them of their own cage. The pain you feel is real, but the characterization is an illusion projected onto you. This external battle is hard enough, but the internal battle is against an even more formidable opponent: yourself. And here we encounter the great and terrible irony of this journey. Your greatest asset, your high-resolution, intelligent mind, now becomes your most dangerous enemy. Your intelligence is a master strategist. It has spent your entire life building defenses to ensure your survival. Now, as you try to approach the dark, disowned parts of yourself, what Jung called the shadow, This same intelligence will launch a sophisticated campaign of self-sabotage. The shadow is everything you've exiled into the darkness of your unconscious. Your anger, your ambition, your vulnerability, your sexuality. Your mind will construct the most intricate, logical-sounding rationalizations to prevent you from looking at it. I'm not angry, I'm just passionate about justice. I'm not afraid of failure, I'm just being realistic. I don't need to feel that old grief, it's in the past. Your mind will build beautiful, intellectually sound cages to keep you from touching the raw, messy, and powerful parts of your own being. So how do you bypass this brilliant inner saboteur? You need a tool that isn't based on logic, but on energy. Here is the first instrument for your inner navigator's toolkit. Let's call it Hunt for Your Exiled Power. The practice is this. The next time you feel an irrationally strong, visceral negative reaction to a trait in someone else, their arrogance, their weakness, their loudness, their neediness, stop. Freeze that moment. That powerful emotional charge is not a judgment. It is a GPS signal. It is a neon sign pointing directly to a piece of your own shadow that you have disowned and are now projecting onto them. Instead of judging them, ask yourself this precise question. What exiled part of my own power is this person reflecting back at me? If you are enraged by someone's arrogance, is it because you have exiled your own right to take up space? If you are disgusted by someone's weakness, is it because you have exiled your own vulnerable, wounded child? This practice transforms an act of external judgment into an internal quest for self-reclamation. It turns your triggers into your greatest teachers. This internal work, this wrestling with your own shadow, brings a unique and profound form of loneliness. It's not the loneliness of having no one to talk to. It's the loneliness of running a different operating system. You are rewriting your own source code, while the people around you, even those you love, are still running the old software. They lack the language to understand what you're experiencing. You are caught between an external world that doesn't get you and an internal world that fights you. This is the crucible, the point of maximum pressure. But what happens in that crucible when you stop fighting? What happens when you simply allow yourself to be in that space? Alone, something remarkable occurs. You discover the profound and life-altering difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a feeling of lack. It is the sound of an empty room, defined by what is not there. It is pain. But solitude is a feeling of presence. It is the sound of a rich, resonant silence. A silence filled not with absence, but with the quiet, insistent whispers of your deepest self. Loneliness is an empty house. Solitude is a concert hall, finally cleared of the noisy crowd, waiting for you to play your own music. This isn't a passive state. It is an active, creative process, and it requires a practice. Here is the second tool for your kit. Activate your inner studio. The next time you feel the pang of loneliness, I want you to consciously reframe it. Do not say, I am lonely. Instead, declare, either out loud or to yourself, I am entering my studio time. This reframes your solitude not as a lack, but as a creative act. The practice is this. Open a journal and write one question at the top of the page. What is trying to emerge from me in this silence? Then, just write. Don't judge it. Don't edit it. Let the whispers from the basement of your soul have their say. This practice transforms solitude from a state of passive suffering into an act of active creation. In this studio, your burden of high-resolution perception gets its final upgrade. It transforms from a burden into a superpower. Your ability to see all the pixels now allows you to paint entirely new pictures. You can finally use your vision not just to deconstruct the world, but to construct your own. The goal is not to build an inner sanctuary just to hide in. It is to build an inner command center and recharging station, a place of power you can return to, allowing you to engage with the world more effectively, not less. But what about connection? What about love? The greatest fear on this path is that by becoming so fully ourselves, we will end up permanently, irrevocably alone. This is the final and most important illusion to dispel. The prize of this journey is not isolation. It is a radical, fundamental shift in your entire model of connection. You stop seeking a person to complete you. The very idea becomes absurd. You are not a half. You are a whole. So the search changes. You stop trying to fill a void. Instead, you begin to seek another person who can resonate with your newfound wholeness. The goal is no longer filling a void. The goal becomes finding a frequency match. This requires a new metaphor for relationships. It is not about two halves making a whole. A far better image is that of a binary star system. Imagine two separate, self-luminous, complete stars. Each star is a whole unto itself, with its own core, its own gravity, its own light. They are not dependent on the other for their existence, but they have found each other in the vastness of space, and they choose to enter into a shared orbit. Together, they create a system that is far brighter and more dynamic than either star could be alone. Their light complements each other. Their gravity creates a beautiful, stable dance. This is the connection you become capable of. A relationship based not on need, but on choice. Not on completion, but on resonance. A connection between two sovereignties, not two dependencies. And what of purpose? That deep, existential ache for meaning that so often drives perceptive people. The journey of individuation reveals a deeper truth. The ache for meaning is not resolved by finding a purpose out there in the world. Instead, the very journey itself, the painful, solitary work of sculpting your soul and integrating your shadow, forges within you the ability to create meaning. Purpose ceases to be a destination to be found and becomes a muscle to be used. You no longer ask, "What is the meaning of my life?" You begin to declare, "This is the meaning I choose to create." So how do you navigate your life with this new power, this new understanding? You need a reliable guide for your day-to-day choices. Here is the third and final tool for your kit. Calibrate your authenticity compass. For any choice you face, big or small, a job offer, a friendship, a simple invitation, the practice is to quiet your mind and ask your body two simple questions. Does this choice make me feel like I am expanding or contracting? Does this path feel more like solid marble or more like crumbling dust? Ignore the shoulds and the supposed tos. Learn to trust the visceral physical sensation of expansion. That feeling is your deepest self saying yes. Contraction is the feeling of putting the mask back on. Expansion is the feeling of your true face breathing the open air. Trust that feeling above all else. It will not lead you astray. This brings us to the final, polished paradox. The ultimate payoff that brings our entire journey full circle. You started this process because you felt like a misfit, separate from the whole. You leaned into that separation. You walked away from the tribe. You descended into your own lonely depths, and you emerge, not as a permanent hermit, but as something else entirely. The journey of separating yourself from the whole is the only way to discover the unique, irreplaceable contribution that you were meant to bring back to the whole. By fully embracing your status as a misfit, you finally discover your true place. You had to leave the village to find the medicine that only you could bring back. We began this journey together by building a dictionary for our shared experience. Now, let's end it by making a collective commitment. In the comments below, I want you to declare which of these 3 tools: hunt for your exiled power, activate your inner studio, or calibrate your authenticity compass, you will commit to using this week. Declare your intention. But don't stop there. Then, find at least one other comment that resonates with you from someone else on this same path, and reply to their comment with 3 simple words: I see you. Let's make this space a living testament to our collective journey, a place where we not only begin our work, but where we witness the work of others. Thank you for your time and for your courage. The path is not easy, but as you can now see, you are not alone on it.